Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Chris and Matt's Wrestling Pod here on Music and Moonsaults. I am Chris. That is Matt. And we are going to talk some wrestling and some Lions and some Yankees in that order tonight. So, with that, Matt, how are you doing this fine evening? You've had a rough evening. You almost didn't make it, but like a pro, you made the town. You figured out a way to make the town,
brother. That's the gig, right? You got to get there. You know, dead car battery, the ice cream shop, doesn't matter. Got to get there. People paid their hard-earned money to see me perform tonight.
Yeah. We didn't pay our hard-earned money to go see Collision.
No, we did not.
And looking at the match lineup from people in the arena, I'm glad we did not decide to do that, even for $10.
Yeah, that feels like it would have been one of those I can't take this anymore moments. I need to just ignore the company for a bit.
Yeah.
So, I can expand on that once we get into the AEW discussion we're going to have tonight. So.
Sure. Yeah. So we're gonna let's start with AEW this week. Okay. It was of course the announcement yesterday. The new TV deal is signed, sealed, and delivered for Dynamite and Collision. Sounds like Rampage, at least on a WED network, will be no more starting in January. It still sounds like they're going to do something, whether it's Fox proper or some other Fox network. It's still sounds like there's a possibility they could end up doing something with Fox before all is said and done. The main thing though, aside from the money, which, to people like us, like, it doesn't really matter, other than the fact that it allows them to keep going, to be another viable place for people to work and make good money in the business. And that's a great thing. But other than that, for us fans, the big thing is starting in January, Dynamite and Collision will be streaming on Max. And then at some point, doesn't sound like right away, sometime in 2025, pay-per-views will be available on Max with at a discounted rate, which I'm interested to see what that ends up being, whether that's going to be worthwhile or if it's, $50 minus whatever your subscription to Max is. If it's that, then I'm not going to be too, keen on it. But if it's, something like $20 or something like that, that's a lot better than $50 a pop. So, yeah, I mean, I'm, like I said, I'm happy for all the people that all the wrestlers and everyone that works there, that continue to be a good place to, like I said, another national place for people to make money, and so all that. So what say you?
What say me?
I
fun. Perfect. One of the guys that does that whole chat me or gets that chat me up question has been ranting for weeks about how it's not going to happen and how the company is going to die. And like the idiot he was proven that he doesn't know what he's talking about. No, I agree with everything you said, except for the part where you said the money doesn't really matter to the fans. I think it does matter to the fans, because for me, when I hear that they're getting $185 million a year for this company, you better be giving me a reason, like, to continue to support you in a financial sense. Like you said, like, I'm not going to pay $50 for a pay-per-view. It doesn't matter what company's doing it. I might splurge for like Royal Rumble and WrestleMania if that were the case. but I'm not. Times have changed. It's not a sustainable business model. You and I were joking about how we didn't go to Collision tonight, even though tickets were just $10. The only reason they were $10 is they can't get anyone to come to their shows right now. And if I know you've got a lot of money to produce the product, then and the show is still like entertaining and not something that I'm interested in, that says more about you as a booker than a TV property that happens to draw a rating, that gets them this deal. But more importantly for me is like, I just hope that they make it more affordable to go to the shows that you want to go to. I mean, their ticket prices are kind of outrageous for what the company has been offering for the past, I'd say 18 months. And I think that's part of the reason why they run into these problems of like, they have a hard time filling arenas. And then by the time people have made up their mind, they're not going to see it the week before. They're like, well, we'll give you a seat for $10. Okay. Well, for guys like us, that means like, well, I got to make sure I got someone to watch my kid, that my wife isn't busy that night. I don't got work in the morning. Like it's not just, well, we can drop everything and come see the show now that it's affordable.
Right. And even if all that, like I was begging them to announce something last night, anything. And they announced nothing, absolutely nothing. I couldn't believe it. Like, I don't understand. And hold on. Cause like, it's not like, well, no, because WWE, they announce stuff at least a week out. So, if you haven't got tickets, like, okay, this is what, like next week, for example, we know we're getting a world title match. We're getting an intercontinental title match. And there's one other, there's the barroom, whatever,
Hooligan Brawl or whatever
with Sheamus, but there's 3 matches right there that they announced for next week, on this week's show, so if you are, thinking last minute you want to go, you go, oh wow, that sounds like a pretty good show. I want to go get tickets. Like they put, and it's so frustrating. Jeremy and Joel on In the Weeds have talked about this a lot recently, where they'll throw a bunch of people on the poster and like literally none of those people are ever at the show specifically for Collision.
That exact thing was the catalyst for me dropping WWE for multiple years. I was so frustrated with the product. That crappy Hell in the Cell match had happened with Fiend and Seth. And then I went to the NXT show with our Seattle correspondent out in Seattle, and like 7 of the 9 faces on the poster weren't there. Like Adam Cole and in retrospect, it's probably a good thing, but like Velveteen Dream, I was like, oh, I want to see him. Yeah. It was supposed to be
at the time,
Cole it was supposed to be Cole with the Undisputed Era, and Gargano and Ciampa had been advertised, and that was, none of them were there. And I was just like, this is it. Like you can't advertise talent to people, not have them show up, not advertise matches, and expect fans the next time you come around to be like, yeah, I'm just going to give you my money ahead of time. Like that's literally, old timers talk, that's how you kill a town.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was, again, that was one of the things with WCW that happened a lot, that didn't help matters any with their demise. You'd have all these people announced for house shows, and that's a house show. This is like TV, man. Like, this is your show, this is your product. And
because they don't even do house shows,
right?
And for guys like us, the company's been in business for 5 years. They've made 4 shows in our area. Like, we don't get a lot of chances to see them, and this is now back-to-back shows where they've come through the area with underwhelming promotion, underwhelming cards, and in the case of tonight, like, they didn't even promote the people that were actually there. So like, when you've got, and this is one of the points I was going to make, they've got their TV deal And I want to make sure that, like, I make it clear, I am so happy that that company is thriving and able to do this. But now
Yes.
they're at the big boy table. You got past the initial run. You proved all the doubters wrong. Now you got to prove all your supporters right. And doing stuff like this is not going to get it off to a good start. And they're already being heavily criticized because the ratings are dropping. They're not getting the attendance. And yes, they got the deal, and that's awesome. That's great. I want to make sure they get the next deal.
Right.
And killing towns and throwing together and I know this has all been internet talk, throwing together hot shot matches that people are willing to pay money to see, but you don't give them any promotion ahead of time, that also don't make sense in your storyline, is not a good way to keep people interested, especially when WWE is so hot right now. They were the alternative, and that's what gave them success for a while. But now they're the minor league. Like, there's a clear separation between the two. And they keep doing things that make people who want to enjoy their product go, man, I just can't get behind it. I just can't get behind it.
Right. No, totally. I agree. It's me, speaking specifically for me, like, yeah, it was, they were, and it just so happened that during the time that WWE was at its worst, they were at their best.
Yeah.
And, I don't know.
On top of that point, don't you? Saying.
A lot of that was before he showed up, but yeah. I mean, yes.
No, it was all him. It was all him.
Yes. But I just now I lost my train of thought, but that's okay.
When WWE was at their lowest, AEW was at its peak.
What at its best, and now WWE is at its peak, and AEW's not. I don't know. Like I said it, I said it a few weeks ago. Like, they have, like, they get so close, and then they just, like, they're like the Lions used to be. Like, they'd get so close, and then they'll do something completely stupid, and you'll be like, what are you doing? And then fumble,
Yep.
So and I guess we can transition right into last night's show, the 5th anniversary. Like, I don't know what you thought, but it didn't feel big. And maybe it's because Grand Slam was the week before, but I don't know. It just didn't feel like, other than them showing the clips throughout the night of what has happened in the past on all the key moments from Dynamite's past. But yeah, it just, like, again, the wrestling was good. I enjoyed Ospreay and Ricochet. The finish was god awful. To do the double pin, restart the match, and then have Takeshita come out and attack Ospreay. Like, you could have just done that. But
well, and to nitpick, I hated, before they even restarted the match, I hated that they did the double pin, and as soon as the referee counted the 3, they both started moving. And I'm just like, you either have to sell it, or you don't move at all for a very long time. But you can't just be like 1, 2, 3, and then they both kind of roll over. Like, so you were aware that there was a count, but you weren't aware your shoulders were down. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You were still talking about the match. I keep interrupting. I apologize, sir.
No, you're fine. But yeah, that was good. I mean, that was a good way to kick off the show. The main event, I mean, obviously goes without saying. Like, it's Bryan and Okada. That was a good match. Thought there was going to be something else in the post match other than just Wheeler Yuta coming down. I didn't know what. I'm there's talk, there's nothing been concrete reported, but the talk is like Kenny was over in Japan recently with his gear maker, and it's like, okay. But again, I have no idea what his timetable is. He was in rough shape with his diverticulitis, so I don't want to like put some timeline on it that's not, actual an actual possibility. But it just felt like he should have been on that show in some capacity, even if it was just like a video message sent in. Like, Kenny Omega should have been on that show.
Yeah, I can get that. Two things real quick I want to go back to.
Yeah.
I texted you during the Ospreay Ricochet match, and I was half joking, but I was like, Vader wasn't wrong. I'm not saying he was right, but he wasn't wrong either. I knew they were going to do the callback.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of disappointed that they went right to it, because it made me go, oh, so you guys have traveled the world since you've had this match, but you're right back doing the same spot from 8 years ago. That the cynic in me was just like, man, that was kind of lame. Like, you knew it was coming, but I thought they'd, it wouldn't have been almost like the exact same thing.
Yeah, I thought it was fine because again, it's a callback for the that's the a crowd like that is gonna know and pop huge for it. It's fan service is what it is. I mean,
sure,
it's it's Deadpool making a Captain America Human Torch joke, into the camera,
sure.
So,
and then the other thing I was gonna say, I didn't even watch Bryan and Okada because the minute they announced the match, I was like, well, Bryan's gonna win. This makes no sense in the middle of the storyline. Like, I wasn't interested. I saw what happened post match.
Mm-hmm.
But you mentioned the wrestling was good, but it was all the other stuff. Like, I know I can watch a good wrestling match on that show.
Yeah.
It's
like
the other stuff. It's the other stuff, and it's the I want to watch a good wrestling match that's in the middle of a story that I'm interested in. And that what they were giving me last night, I just wasn't interested in because you knew the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, it was supposed to be the rubber match between two icons, but it was a foregone conclusion. So disappointing.
Yeah. Sure.
All right. But I'm going to ask you the $50,000 question. Who's behind all of this? Who's Moxley working for?
See, it felt like, I don't know. It's really weird because I wasn't even thinking that way until Excalibur said something on commentary.
Right. That's why I think it's not just internet gossip. Like, they made reference of it on the program purposely.
Right.
So he's got to be working for someone. Who is it?
I mean, the popular theory is it's Shane, right?
Right.
So
which well, I think would be a tremendous flop, but I kind of want to see it too. I kind of want to see Shane go to AEW and like just give the FU to his entire family, to his old man specifically,
Yeah. Right.
But if that's really what it is, I'm not. I don't think it's going to go well.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things where I don't know. A majority, it's from what I can tell. And it's like it's weird because I like when you do talk WWE, like the stuff you see online, I think is a very small fraction of the fan base, whereas AEW, what you see online, I think is quite a good representation of the fan base because it's definitely the more online fan base, and there's gonna be a lot of people not very happy if that's what it ends up being.
Right.
I'm some men like to watch the world burn, and I'm one of those people. So I kind of want. All right, let's see how this goes. I'm like, at least it'll be interesting, which is maybe not in the right way. But at least I'll be like, okay, let's see where this goes. Let's see what kind of, like you said, let's see what kind of train wreck this is.
Yeah.
Which is more than I can say for a lot of stuff they got going on, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's true. I just I said it last week, and if it were to be Shane, it would obviously be like a hostile takeover thing. I thought that's what the Young Bucks were doing.
And that's another they that thing, yeah. I don't know. It was weird. They dropped again. They just like they half-ass half these storylines. The only storyline that they've and I don't even think they got that 100% right, but the only storyline that they were actually like had like a clear vision for and stuff has been the Hangman Swerve stuff. No, take that back. Sorry. The Tony Mariah stuff. Too. Give credit where it's due there. But other than that, yeah, a lot of the stuff just is very haphazard and just kind of thrown on TV and okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, I mean, maybe it's Shane. I don't know. I mean, it's.
I saw Josh Barnett was thrown out.
See, that would make more. No, I was gonna say that would make more sense, as far as like who Moxley is and stuff like that. But again, I find that way less interesting than it being Shane McMahon. You know,
right? Someone suggested Shad Khan as like, you know, my son let this company get taken over by wrestlers, so I had to go get other wrestlers to right the ship. Blah blah blah. That
would play really well with an 0-4 football team.
Right. That was awful. Yeah, I haven't seen anything that would get me excited for it, and I don't know. I don't need to see a takeover storyline, because especially that smart crowd, they know it's not really being taken over. I think that's why this Young Bucks thing fell so flat. You know, it's the audience knows it's not true.
Sure. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Wrestle Dream Cards finally got a couple matches on it, at least, huh? At least after tonight, right?
Yep. Yes. Yeah, we've got Brian and Mox. It sounds like after the Collision tapings, there's going to be a new number one contender for the tag team titles.
Darby issued his open challenge.
Darby issued an open challenge. We'll see. I don't know who that could be.
I don't know.
But yeah. I imagine kind of looks like we're probably going to get Ospreay and Takeshita.
Or Ospreay, Takeshita, and Ricochet.
Yeah, it could be a triple threat.
That way you can get the belt off Ospreay without having him get pinned.
Yeah, you could do that. But, and again though, what does he do from there? So,
you push that son of a bitch to the top of the card. He's the best thing you have. Go make him the top guy.
I agree. But they don't seem interested in doing that right now. They want to long play this.
Man, I wanted to come on here and be like, AEW, great deal, blah, 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 blah. I'll tell you, I don't give a shit about Bobby Lashley and Sheldon Benjamin. Like, how many times? Like, are they just going to go get like ex WWE guys, and that's the only way you get to the top? Is you have to have worked for the Fed? I can't believe I used that term. Sorry. Before you can get to the top at AEW, like, why is Will Ospreay not being pushed to the moon? I don't understand.
I don't know.
Like, why would you replace Darby in that world title match to go back to Moxley and Bryan again?
Right.
Like, whatever. I'm
You good?
I'm good. Whatever.
No, I agree. I'm not excited about it either. Especially if Mox wins, because it's like, okay, we've been here like 4 times now. Like, you know, and from there, it definitely, it still seems like from there, it still seems like Darby's the guy after that. So then what?
I would argue if you were going to have someone beat Bryan at Wrestle Dream to end the career, and then you wanted to do this thing with Moxley, why wouldn't you wait the 6 weeks? Have Darby beat Bryan in Seattle, get the world title thing, big pop, blah, 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 and you really want to make Mox a heel then? You have him attack Darby there, and then you have him get the belt off Darby in a heartbeat, and Darby can have the chase, because now we know he can win the big one. We know he can beat the best in the world. Now he's going to have to overcome this monster factory thing with Mox. I just like this whole run of how they put the belt on Bryan and what they're doing. It just makes no sense. And they're lucky he's the best in-ring worker of the last 25 years, and he can make chicken salad out of chicken shit no matter who he's in the ring with. And that's not to say those guys are needed, but like once the match starts, he's going to make it awesome because it's Bryan freaking Danielson.
Right.
But the booking around this has been nonsense.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I agree. So, do you have anything else AEW related?
Sort of. Did you see Toni Storm's interview about her time with Stan Hansen over in Japan?
I saw the quote. I didn't actually see the interview, but yeah, I saw the headline. So I'm like, that. I mean,
so
that's
good.
perfect.
So good.
So, someone was like, during Collision last week, someone was like, well, during the lumberjack strap match, someone on Twitter said like, I'd like to be a fly on the wall just for a day in the Storm Robinson household. See what kind of insanity goes on there.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I feel like the two of them probably just bounce craziness off each other all day long.
Yeah. They feed each other's crazy, and yeah. So good for them. All right. Bad Blood is Saturday. We have another 5 match card. I know people have opinions on that. I don't. But whatever. So we're gonna play our little game here that we normally play for pay-per-views. If you're unaware, I pull up the betting odds here on online, and I go match by match, and I ask Matt to guess who the favorite is and what the odds are. It's just a fun game. So, because Matt is the degenerate gambler out of the two of us,
and then we discuss the individual.
Yes. It's a good way to get into the individual matches.
And I apologize. I think I'm going to need to restart my stream. My internet connection is crapping on me.
All right, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Take care of that, and then we'll get started here.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. While Matt does that, I will tell you that to tune in tomorrow on Late Night Grin. Tomorrow night, I believe it's at 11:05, standard usual time for them. where I will be on their Bad Blood preview, breaking everything down. It's always a good time with those guys. The Fed Four, as we've been named. So check that out over at Late Night Grin tomorrow night. Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. How's everyone else doing? Are we good? Good. Let's see here. Oh man. There we go. Oh. There he is. Let's see here. Are we good now?
I think so.
As good as we're gonna get?
Well, it feels like every week about the half-hour mark I have this problem, and I don't know what to do to fix it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all right. Let's see here. So let's start with Damian Priest versus Finn Balor.
All right. I think Finn is the favorite. And I'm gonna say Finn minus 300.
Finn is not the favorite.
Oh. Really?
Really?
Okay.
But you were just on the opposite end. He's plus 300.
Okay, so then is Priest minus like 500?
Bingo. Look at you. Look at you.
Oh, look at me. The reason I figure Finn probably needs the win in this more, and I don't feel like this is the end of the feud. I feel like it's going to be kind of a good guy heavy show. It would make sense that they get one up on him.
Yeah. I keep going back and forth on this one. And I still haven't really narrowed it down, like, because I feel like this match and the Rhea Liv match are going to be connected in some. I feel like if it's either going to be a Judgment Day night or it's going to be a Terror Twin night. Like, I don't know if they'll split those. I think if one wins, the other wins. But I don't know what side of that if everything falls on. But I'm with you. I think Finn probably needs it more to elevate him. I guess a lot depends too on if they're done with this or if this keeps going. It's hard to imagine.
I feel like you don't break that group up to make it like a less than a 2-month program. And that's why I kind of feel like Finn wins this one so that they can get to the next big match between the two. I also kind of feel bad that this match is pretty overshadowed by a lot of other stuff that's going on in the company. Like, I'm kind of surprised it's on the PLE, if I'm being honest. You could probably put 3 or 4 other programs above this match. Because I just feel like the more the interest has been around Rhea and Liv and Dom.
Right. I kind of feel like that's why it's on here, though. And I think it kind of probably works in their advantage. Like, there's not any expectations with this match.
Sure.
So they can go out and just kind of do their thing. And, if it's good, it'll elevate the show. And if it's, I don't think it's going to be bad, but if by chance it is, it's like, okay, well, it was the least anticipated match on the show. So
sure. That's fair.
Let's stay on that train then and go with the women's world title match. Liv Morgan defending against Rhea Ripley.
Man, I don't know who to take in this one. I can see both of them winning. I'm leaning towards Rhea just because I feel like her getting the belt back would then give Liv a reason to continue on with this.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel like this story's done either. So I'm gonna take Rhea as the favorite, and I'm gonna put it at minus 400. Way off, aren't I?
No, you did it again.
Flipped it.
You flipped it. Rhea's the underdog at plus 400.
Okay, so then minus 650 for Liv.
It's close. 700.
All right, cool.
You're getting better at this.
Well, not really, because I was way off.
Well, still, at least like you got the right number. You're just on the opposite side of the.
So where you're at then, you think this is Liv is correct to be the favorite then?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. This one though is weird about whether it continues or not because they already had one match at SummerSlam,
Right.
and then you do this one. I mean, I guess you could do a third.
Well, they did the tag match at the last PLE too.
Right. So, yeah, it's just, and the thing is, it's weird is I don't know what either person does after this whenever this is finished. Like I don't see a logical a logical next step for either person.
So I don't think it's done yet either. Solely because I feel like the stuff with Jay and Rhea isn't done, and I feel like Dom is gonna be kind of slotted up into that IC title range, and I don't know if he wins the belt or not, but I feel like them teasing Rhea and Jay for so long can't just be dropped. And what better way for Dom to get back at Rhea than to go after the new boyfriend?
Sure. Speaking of, this is still my third, as far as the Intercontinental title designs since, I've been alive. It's still in third place there, but I really like the pop of blue that they added to the belt. It just makes it, it just was so, when it was just black and gold, it was just kind of blech. But at least with the pop of blue, it like, I'm like, oh, that's actually a decent looking belt. Like, it's not, like I said, it's still behind the classic and the Attitude Era version. Like, it's still behind both of those, but I like it a lot more with the blue in there.
Sure. I kind of hope, when I saw that, I kind of hope he does like the Ultimate Warrior thing where the color inside changes all the time. Not the strap, but the color in the belt.
Oh.
Because he changes up the color of his shades and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that'd be
cool.
Kind of cool.
I'd be cool if he came out with that electric blue colored strap though too.
Yeah, I mean, that could work.
So, but yeah, I guess if I had like, yeah, I'm just gonna keep going. Like I said, I got a feeling that they're gonna be kind of handcuffed, so to speak. So if I pick Finn, I'm gonna pick Liv here.
Okay.
So, Will, where'd it go? It would be a lot better if these were like next to each other. Does Dominic escape the shark cage? We didn't even talk about that part of it.
Oh, minus 2,000. Like, absolutely, he gets out of the shark cage.
Minus 220, but yeah.
Yeah, whatever. That's a steal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see here. The other women's title match. We have Nia Jax defending against Bayley.
I'm going Nia.
Mm-hmm.
Minus 1,500.
Minus 450.
Really?
Yeah.
That much? Oh, see, I feel like that's a no-brainer. This is where I get tripped up because in my mind, like the only logical thing that happens here is Nia wins, and then there's the tease in of the cash in.
Right.
Because I don't think Bayley's getting the belt back because she just lost it, and they're clearly building more towards the animosity between her and Naomi and Nia and Tiffy. So
yeah,
I would have thought they'd be much higher. But yeah, I think this is Nia's. Nia gets the win, and then it's just a matter of do they do the cash in or not.
Funny. By the way, Bayley is plus 275. Okay. Will Tiffany Stratton cash in her Money in the Bank?
I don't think so. I don't think it's time yet.
So you think
no? So I would say, will she cash in? No, at minus 150.
Minus 550.
Jesus.
Yes is plus 325.
Okay.
All right.
No, yes is trademarked by World Wrestling Entertainment, apparently. I don't know if you've
heard. We'll go we'll do the tag match next. We have Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns against the Bloodline.
I'm taking Roman and Cody.
Hold on, before we get yes, I believe Nia retains, and no, I don't believe Tiffy is cashing in. I think they're going to continue that. That's more of a long play story than, so I think we get into Mania season before that.
I think so too.
Yeah. So, all right, tag match: Cody and Roman versus Jacob and Solo.
So I don't think the winner of the match matters as much as the story that they're telling here. So I'm just going to go Roman and Cody minus 1,000 to win the match. I would put Bloodline at plus. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was going to say minus 400.
Okay, so Bloodline plus 250.
Bingo.
Okay. The outcome of the match, I think that's who has to win because Roman's not doing jobs right now. Come on, you're not pinning Cody right now either.
Right.
But it's after the match that everyone. It's why it's going to main event the show. I don't think the thing on McAfee this week was a mistake. I think they did that. I think they're being very calculated with how they're trying to get interest into all of their stuff across multiple platforms. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about?
No.
So,
which part?
Cody was on McAfee this
week.
And there was a clip, quote unquote clip, after the show of him shaking hands with all the guys. And Pat walks up to him and goes, "Oh, I hear the big guy's coming back this week." And Cody goes, "Which one?" And Pat goes, "Ooh," and he turns around and walks away. It's happened to have a camera there for it. And they let it get released, right? Like, that's not something you let get out in that environment if you're not trying to build the buzz over what could happen at the end of the show. I don't know if you know this, but a certain big-time Hollywood actor has like a compound right outside of Atlanta, Georgia, where the show happens to be this week. So there's the thought that Dwayne is making the big return.
Could be. That would make sense because you got to start building towards war games. I'm wondering. The thing I'm wondering is during Cody's interview on McAfee, he said something about there was going to be a video package or something to that effect that had to do with his challenger for Crown Jewel.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what that is too.
How much money do you think the Saudis would pay Dwayne to wrestle in Saudi Arabia?
Oh, a shit ton. But I don't think the match happens in Saudi though. Because I can't remember exactly how he put it, but Cody very much alluded to Pat that the Rock match was his at Mania?
I don't think so.
No?
No.
That's what I got out of it.
What I got out of it is it's going to be Rock and Roman, and Cody's going to have some huge match that hasn't been determined yet. It could be Cena.
Could be Cena. Yeah, that's true.
It could, Cody and Punk. And I'm not saying this is just, me, but that's a pretty big match, especially if Punk turns heel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Punk did an interview this week where he hinted that he might not be a good guy much longer. But I think one of two matches, when Cody made the comment about the package, one of two matches is happening in Saudi Arabia. Him and Roman or him and Rock, in my mind, because that's a huge match. That's, the type of money that Saudi whatever fund throws around. That's the kind of money, we don't want just The Undertaker and Goldberg to come out here and embarrass all of us. We
murder
want
each other.
Yeah, we want the biggest match you have, and we're going to throw X amount of millions of dollars at you to get it in our country.
They also wanted Yokozuna to wrestle.
Well, I mean, they're kind of getting a Yokozuna, right? It's all the same bloodline.
Yeah, I don't know. See, maybe. I don't know. If it were me, if it were me doing Roman Cody 3, that's going on Saturday night's main event.
Unless you've got $50 million being thrown at you.
Sure.
Because you've got, I mean, the great thing about WWE right now is they've got a bunch of stuff to choose from that could main event Saturday night's main event. So
yeah.
I think what happens Saturday is Roman and Cody win. Bloodline starts making the attack. They fight them off. That's when Dwayne shows up and gets in the ring and is like, you turned your back on your family, blah, 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 blah. And that's where the rest of the bloodline joins in. And he becomes the final boss for Solo. Roman has to find his backup. You might think it could be Cody because they beat down Cody. Maybe that's where KO comes out and it looks like he's going to help Cody, and that's where he stabs Cody in the back. Just like Rock said to Roman, you turned your back on family to team with this guy. I said it last week. I think KO is going to be like, how could you team with him after all he put all of us through?
I just don't think KO is the one turning. I think it's going to be Orton. I think Kevin's a red herring to take the scent off for Randy.
It could be both of them too, because Randy's been right in the middle of the whole thing. It could be Randy and KO being like, all right, we're done with this clown.
Could be. I don't have about The Rock, but will Jimmy Uso return at Bad Blood?
No, minus 400.
Yes, minus 300.
Okay. If I gotta say, if they moved the Bloodline match to the main event of Hell in the Cell and Jimmy Uso is the big return, the people that have been arguing about which match who should end the show are going to have a conniption. Like, it is going to make wrestling social media unbearable for like 4 days.
I mean, maybe he's not maybe he's just a.
I would hope so. If this match closes out the show, it has to close with something massive. And that's why I'm like, it's got to be Dwayne. It all lines up for it to be Dwayne.
Yeah. Could be. We'll see. We shall see. Save this one for last, just for you. Hell in a Cell. CM Punk. Drew McIntyre.
CM Punk minus 10,000.
CM Punk minus 2,000.
Yeah.
Which I think is steep. I don't know if it's that much of a... Again, I think this is a coin flip.
I don't know. I I don't know what happens coming out of this. That then it like what next for Drew then?
I mean, I could say the same thing for Punk, because it doesn't look like because he's not going to work Crown Jewel, and it certainly seems like after Gunther defense against Sammy, it definitely looks like Braun Breaker's the next in line.
Maybe.
They at least hinted that way on Monday.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe he goes back after Jay too. I don't know. It's really weird with these feuds that have been going on for a long time, where it's like, okay, it's probably time to end these, but like I don't see where the pieces fit. Maybe, maybe if the Judgment Day stuff is done and this is done, maybe him and Priest renew their, they just had the one pay-per-view match, but maybe they get back together for a feud. I don't know.
I mean, Drew could take some time off too, and come back around Rumble.
True.
He's been a central part of the show for well over a year now, without any real break. Right? I'm not.
Yeah, because he was on TV the whole time. His elbow was hurt. So
Right. So like he could take a little time and come back and be a Royal Rumble sort of like, oh, now he's back around. Time to build up whatever we're doing for him for Mania.
yeah, that's fair.
I feel like with Punk, I think this is the catalyst. He wins this one to get the big win, and then he's gonna get, because he's already talked about going after Gunther. I feel like he's going to get involved in the world title scene, and then that's when him and Seth are going to start. That's where the friction between those two is going to come to a head. And I wouldn't, after his interview with O'Shea Jackson and the other, the show just started, so I don't even know the name of it. But they were talking about him being a good guy, and he goes, come talk to me in about 6 months. I'm wondering if Punk gets screwed out of the belt. I'm throwing it out there. He's going to do the Bret Hart. Everybody around here screws me. Ever since I've come back, all I've done is deal with people screwing me over and coming after me. I'm not the bad guy, and he's going to turn his back.
It's bullshit.
Right. And he could do it on Netflix, right? Because they're going to be on streaming platforms. So I feel like this is a big match for Punk to start the next chapter of his inevitable, I think leads to his inevitable heel turn. Yeah.
You know it. I know it. Gunther knows it. I don't know shit, little man.
Everybody in that goddamn dressing room goes on the best there is. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know shit, little man.
R.I.P. Sid.
Sid ruled. Oh, man.
It was the master.
Will Punk or Drew bleed? Now, let me give you the options for you. So we have both, neither, Punk only, Drew only.
Both minus 1,000.
Minus 185.
They better both bleed.
Dude, yeah. They both, the way that they both have talked in this part of the build, yeah. There needs to be, and not just, and I'm not usually one of these people, but there needs to be more than just a couple trickles. There needs to be some crimson masks.
Yes.
In this match.
Yes. I agree.
So
I loved in the promo on Monday when Drew was like, I never hated anybody till you came along. I was like, I feel like you spent a good part of the last year talking about how much you hate Jey Uso in the bloodline. Yeah. That was definitely a thing.
Yeah. So, oh man, does Punk come out in the shorts, in the gym shorts?
No. He's probably going to wear some white gear so when he does bleed, you get that visual effect.
Yeah. So I'm saying, like, the MJF dog collar match, you wear the white gym shorts.
Oh, you broke up there. I didn't hear you say. Okay, I thought you were talking about like the thing he wore on Monday, the all white.
Oh no.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Do we get Jim Short Punk?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
All right. That does that. Did you see the last Monster Standing match?
I have it. It's where I'm paused on Raw. I planned to watch it before we recorded tonight, and then my car battery died on me, and it took about 45 minutes of my evening away from me.
Right.
So.
Fair. It was good. Shout out to Braun for finishing that match with I guess he tore his groin all up like pretty early on in the match too.
Which explains that clip that was going around of him like grimacing running across the ring. Like,
oh
yeah, I'd be grimacing too.
Like I don't know how he did half like climbing up to the top rope and shit. Like I don't know how he did any of that. Like, dude's a beast.
It's a monster of all monsters, right?
There is.
Isn't that the name?
Yes. Well, and one big SOB too. That's his other one. And then Seth returns, and so we should be getting Seth and Bronson Reed probably in Saudi. So
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So, all right. Do you want to do Yankees or you want to do Lions first?
Let's do Lions real quick.
All right. Lions going to Monday Night Football with the Motor City Muscle unis looking just fantastic.
Sharp.
Those helmets, the all black. I think they just need to do away with the gray pants. Because anytime they wear in general, because anytime they wear all like uniform color, they play well. But whenever they bring the silver pants out, even though that's the classic look, they don't always play as well. But all the all whites, the all blues, these all blacks, that seems to be when they play their best ball. So
all right, I'll rock with it.
That's my hot take coming out of the game. But
that's your hot take? Because my hot take is Lamar Jackson ain't the most mobile QB in football anymore.
That's right.
We got a triple threat on our hands. He's throwing the ball, he's running the ball, he's catching it, baby.
Triple threat Goff, baby.
Jared Goff. That was so I laughed so hard. I was like, what? Like, come on.
Mm-hmm. I loved I love Sun God after the game. He was with SVP on Sports Center, and he's like, I don't know if anyone knows this, but I'm the emergency third quarterback in case anything happens to Jared and Hendon Hooker. And it's like, nice. Yeah. So I guess they've had that play for a while too, and every time they were going to run it, they checked into a run instead. So
yeah, Jared said it's been called. They've had it installed for like 2 years, and he said that like they've called it and then come out and the look hasn't been right. So he's like, and that's that's kind of like a microcosm of what he's been in Detroit. Of like he's come in and just been like willing to say nope. I'm reading this. It's not working. We're gonna move out of it, and that's not what he did in LA. And I think that's been one of the big things that, since he got here, is they trust him to make the right read, and he knows to get out of it when it doesn't look right.
So
that's how he goes perfect on Monday Night Football in front of the entire country.
I believe it was the very first pass he threw where it looked like they had him in the backfield and he did that spinning pirouette and like just fired the ball into JMO right in the middle of the field. Like, mobile golf season is here, baby.
Yeah, let's go. MVP.
But no, like that's the game I think everyone's been waiting for with his offense so far this year. And they finally broke out. I mean, just explosive play. Like that Montgomery run on that screen pass where he just like ran over like 4 people and just refused to be tackled.
Yeah.
Answering a Seattle score, first play, 70 yards to JMO, like just a masterclass.
And I've been complaining about them not using the run game, and I mean they were excuse me everyone, I'm sorry. They were pushing Seattle around. They just had their way with that offensive line, missing, the best center in football, and they had their best game as a group. Like, it's reassuring to know that they're still able to run the football even without their leader on the offensive line. And that's what I've been waiting for. Like, push these people around, establish your dominance on the ground, and that's going to open up the pass game. And that's it. It clearly happened. That JMO, you talked about it, that JMO catch was, they were totally expecting another run, because that's what we've been doing all game to him up to that point.
Well, the beautiful thing about that play is, like, both JMO and Amon-Ra were both open on that play. Like, if he would have thrown it to Amon-Ra would have gone for a score too on the post.
Maybe. I mean, I wonder if Witherspoon would have been able to track him down, just, because he'd be waiting for the ball. Because part of what helped on the JMO thing is Witherspoon had to stop and turn around a little bit.
Sure. I don't know if you've seen it, but if you see the all 22, like, it's very, like, he was wide open on the post.
No,
like,
they were both open. I've seen that. I've seen the shot you're talking about.
So it's just another primetime win. Technically they're 7-1 in their last 8, but we all know they're really 8-0. And now we got the bye week and that rematch with Dallas after that. So,
and I don't know. I know the last thing I saw, Micah Parsons wasn't playing this week, and he's got a high ankle sprain. I
don't expect him to play. They put Lawrence on the injured list, so he won't be playing. And they already have a hell of a time stopping the run. So that's a Montgomery and Gibbs game written all over it.
It better be.
Yeah,
that absolutely needs to be. I saw some people complaining about the defense, but when you have a 70-yard touchdown and they're as efficient as they were in on most of their drives, the defense just got put out there a lot. I think the time of possession was like 35-25 or something like that.
Yeah.
They gave up points, but
still they gave up what, 20, because the safety was on, so what, they gave up 27. Like, again, like, not, it's on the higher end of what I want to give up, but if your offense is clicking like it's supposed to be, you still should win most games. If you're under 30 with this offense, they still should be able to win most games. It wasn't even the passing game. Like, I mean, Gino went off, but he just does that against us for whatever reason. I don't understand what it is. Some guys just go off on teams every time, and that's Gino against the Lions. For me, it was in the second half. They could not tackle Kenneth Walker. So that was the thing for me on the defensive side. That, and it seemed like they really missed Brian Branch. More so than they missed Ragnow even. So, because you can tell, just him not being out there, you could just tell. And it's not that Brandon Joseph or whatever his name is that played in the spot was bad. Like, I don't think I didn't notice anything bad that he did. It's just when you got someone like Branch who can do so many things and create chaos all over the field, like, and he's not there, it's just him and Barnes. Like, I never thought I'd say that about Derek Barnes, but Barnes has developed into a really nice player, and not having him, you could tell, was an issue as well.
I don't know that it was too much of an issue because, like, I thought Rodrigo played really well, having to fill in there. I agree with your point about Branch. I think what Branch allows you to do, it allows you to disguise a lot of things because when he's on the field, you can blitz Joseph if you want to. You can blitz a slot corner if you want to because he can pick up. With him not out there, it's pretty obvious Kirby was staying back most of the night. And, I saw Robertson out there. It felt like more than I had at any point up to that game. But I thought they handled it well. I know you don't care about pressures. You got to get the SOB on the ground. I get it. But, I mean, Hutch, again, living in the backfield is – they got to find somebody to get there besides him. It can't just always come from him. But man, that dude's a beast.
Well, Ansarike got there. He got the sack in the game. One of the two, because I think Reader got the other one, right?
Rodrigo.
No, I thought it was DJ Reader. Regardless. So I think
No, Rodrigo got one. Rodrigo got your blitz.
Okay, that's right. But yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I wasn't worried about. Didn't come away with that being like, oh God, the defense sucks again.
Right.
Hopefully with this, in this bye week, they were, work more with our corners to, not be so handsy, but whatever. The good news is that like if they do give up, get those penalties, like they're doing a good job of keeping again, if they would have been able to stop Kenneth Walker in that second half, that game is a complete blowout.
Sure.
So
sure.
Do you have you heard the rumblings about I don't know, a lot of I don't understand it, but I've seen multiple people, like not as a rumor, but just multiple people bring up the idea of them trading for Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I did see that, and I'm like, you're out of your damn mind.
Yeah.
Like, the last thing this team needs is to bring in a diva wide receiver and give up a second round pick to do it. Like, they're not going to be picking at the top of the draft anymore. So their second round picks have to be contributors. They're not just going to give that up to bring in a $25 million wide receiver with a bad attitude. They don't need it. They don't need him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I'm trading for anybody on the Raiders, I'm throwing a first round pick at him and saying, give me Max Crosby. Because Crosby's got years on his deal. He's elite. He loves the area. I think his mentality would fit right in here. That's the guy. Like, I really wish they could go get him. But I get that's Madden talk. That's not real life.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at. Like, they wouldn't go and spend mid-round picks on a need, like an edge rusher last year. Like, why are they going to go spend an earlier pick on a luxury at this point? Because he's obviously the reason why he was on our practice squad before getting the promotion is because of his injuries. But I've liked what I've seen out of Tim Patrick so far, as that possession, taking the place of Reynolds. So I don't see the need for. I mean, they want a second doesn't mean they're going to get a second. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I thought it was weird. Like, I saw a bunch of people. Oh, and Matt's gone. I saw a bunch of people bring up Lions getting Devontae, and I'm like, I just don't see that. But we'll see. Let's wait for Matt to pop back up here. And we'll talk about the Yankees starting the playoffs and get out of here. Hopefully he comes back soon so there's not so much dead air. I hate talking about my... There he is. There he is.
We're running long, Chris.
I know. They're throttling you.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
All right. Well, let's get on to the Yankees then. Playoffs start on Saturday for them. They've kind of had to... I don't love these long layoffs. I mean, I'd rather not. I mean, obviously, I'd rather not have to play in the wild card round because, as we saw, anything can happen. But I don't love having a week off either.
Yeah, I don't particularly like it. But it's baseball now. It's the way they've got it set up. So, like you said, I'd rather not risk it and just get to the 5-game series. So, I texted my buddy who lives in New York today, and I was like, "This is the easiest path they've had to the series in a long, long time. If they don't get there this year, everyone not named Aaron Judge is up for being moved. Everybody. Heads have to roll. Aaron Boone needs to go. Cashman needs to go. Wipe them all out if they don't get to the series at this point. This is their best chance. I'm not saying you got to win the whole thing because you're staring down the barrel of the Phillies, the Mets. The Mets don't count, but the Phillies, the Dodgers, that Padres team looks really dangerous. Like, I get you might not win the whole thing, but if you can't take out the Kansas City Royals and the whatever's left out of the Guardians and these miracle Tigers,
them gritty Tigers,
it's done. Like, the whole thing has to be blown up. And I'm not talking like, we're just gonna move a couple pieces and try to get back. I'm talking you're blowing this whole thing up, and it might mean Aaron Judge gets moved if that's what it takes. Because this is it. They gotta do something. It's been like 7 years since they were the darling team that came along and got cheated by the Astros. So we're almost a decade into Aaron Judge Yankees choking along in October. So this is it for me. Damn it. You're not losing to Seth Lugo and Cole Reagans.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's kind of how I feel too. Like it's got to be this has got to be the year, like you said. They at least got to make it to because they haven't even been to the World Series since 2009. It's been 15 years.
Right.
So, yeah, it's time. It's time.
Well, and like, look, real quick, let's be honest.
Ahead.
The only reason the 3 teams that are remaining is because they played in a division that had the worst team that ever took the field. All of these teams have inflated records because they got to beat up on the White Sox for a big part of the year. And that includes like the Tigers should be a sub 500 team, which means all the games that the Guardians won against them are not that big of a deal because they should have been beaten. They were beating up another garbage team. Like, the White Sox did these teams a service that is unfair to the rest of the American League, if you ask me.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Tigers have some sort of voodoo working for them.
It's fun to watch. I really enjoyed the last couple days, in part because they were doing it to the team I hate almost as much as I hate the Red Sox.
Fair.
Watching that stubby little dwarf pout after the game was great.
Your employer had a funny meme. I saw a bunch of people post.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, you didn't see it? Yeah, Holly even shared it. It was from it was M Life. It was a picture of Stafford and a picture of Verlander, and it said something like something about a Taylor Swift album couldn't drag an ex this bad or something like that.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So yeah, it's, it's fun for everyone around here. So we'll see if they can keep it going. But
I look real, and I'll make this quick. Real talk about the Yankees. Like, look, man, I wouldn't want to play the Tigers right now. I am assuming they beat the Royals. If they don't beat the Royals, that's a real problem, because this lineup, top to bottom, is one of the better lineups they've had in the last few years. I feel like it's not just Judge and whomever he can drag along with him. They've got four or five guys in that lineup that I feel good about coming up to the plate. Volpe has struggled offensively. He's been bad. I'd say the same about Verdugo, and I'm not so sure that they want to play Dominguez being a rookie. But you remember back in the day, like those late 90s, early 2000s teams, the left fielder was always a rotating, it was Chad Curtis.
Yeah.
Scott Spencer and Brett Gardner was that for a minute. Like, it was like, is he going to stick around or not? It was so, like, I don't know. If Dominguez gets in there, I'm not going to hate it. That's who I would prefer. The switch hitting bat. Verdugo hasn't shown much to me throughout the year where I'm like, no, he earned a spot. Like, he hasn't earned his pinstripe, so to speak. So they got a couple holes, but that lineup, for the most part, should carry them in the AL at least.
Yeah. I would think so. I hope we get the Yankees Dodgers so we can get Judge Ohtani. I think that's what baseball would prefer too. That's what pretty much everyone would prefer. But and then whatever happens from there happens. But
and plus you get the New York LA thing, and the history of the Yankees and the Dodgers would be, you could talk about the 40s and 50s and all that stuff. Yeah, it would be. I don't want any part of the Dodgers. So
no.
I mean this for the next two baseball series of games, but let's go Mets. Like, give me the New York Mets out of this. Man, that Padres team is scary right now, and man, we're fortunate one of them is going to get knocked out just because of the way the bracket lined up. I would really not like to see either the two NL West teams. The Phillies, I don't like the idea of playing them either. They got a couple of really good starting pitchers, and their lineup is stacked. But we've beat the Phillies before in the World Series, so history's on our side, right?
That doesn't matter,
right? No one on either of those teams is still playing. So.
Right. Yeah, some dude called into Valenti today, was like, I'm not worried about the Yankees. We beat them in 06 and in 12 and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So. Although if there were one, you mentioned it a couple weeks ago, if there were one team that were going to come in and like do this nonsense money ball, 1 inning here, 2 outs there routine and beat the Yankees, it would be the Tigers.
Yep. That's just the way it goes, man.
And what a story would that, Aaron Judge makes more money in his contract than every single player's lifetime earnings on the Tigers. They could run that stat into the ground, and then they beat the Tigers or beat the Yankees.
Yeah. Multiple times a game. They'd put that up on the screen. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Let's get out of here. Leave a thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. I mentioned it before. I will be on Late Night Grin tomorrow for a further Bad Blood preview shenanigans and the like. So check that out. That is tomorrow night at, I believe it's 11:05. But yeah, so that'll be a good time with the guys over there. And then we'll be back here next week talking the fallout from Bad Blood and whatever else. So Until next time, see ya.